for motions. 9 o'clock, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda is approve the minutes of April 4th. I'll move.
I'll second that.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4.
Should be April 3rd.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is April 3rd.
And it is April 3rd on our monitor.
What do I have on there?
April 4th.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
I didn't catch that when you sent it out either, so.
I think I did change it after I sent it, but I forgot to update your book.
Miscellaneous motions. Moved to authorize director chairman to sign six tax abatements in the amount of $1,148.94.
There's 5 of them are some real small deductions, should have been given the 3% decline for 22, so also moved, that's south, that property is all southeast of Leroy, which is in Steve's, your territory.
I'll second that. Moved by Meach, seconded by McCurry, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is move to find one 1995 GMC cockpit VIN number ending in 017 is no longer required and cannot prudently be used public purpose for Coffee County, and as should be disposed of by auction to S&S Sales, Brett Skillman disposal. Notice will be published in the official county newspaper 2 consecutive times.
I so move.
I'll second.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Move to approve resolution number 772-0, a resolution establishing the pay scale and classification for the employees of Coffee County, Kansas. You all seen that in your book.
I'm trying to get the total here. You said from last year, Dawn, that you want to know?
I was just hearing the rest of what last year and this year, how the comparisons are.
Okay, let's see. Last year. Right. Before the steps, after the 6%, and then after the steps was the $140,000 increase
Just 140?
for this year.
Only 140?
After the 6% increase, and then the
And
steps.
1.5 for.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to get the total for last year.
Wonder why they didn't. Got less employees, be the only reason that could happen.
In just a minute. Total here. Okay, last year's total after steps and percentage increase or whatever for cost of living was $7,469,979.72. And then this year, after steps and cost of living, it's $8,257,007.90.
See, that's 800,000, which is about 11%. Where'd the 140,000 come in?
That's just from after we did the cost
Oh,
of living
that was
this
after.
year. In between.
That wasn't a full year?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
that
okay,
was
okay.
just from the beginning of the year after
So
we did
we're,
that to now.
we're at 800, which is almost exactly 11%. Okay. I figured it had to be 9 to 10 plus.
And just so you know, after you all reviewed these, we put the numbers in the software system for the payroll system. I then exported it out, and sent it out to all departments for them to verify again, so we have checked, and rechecked, so we should be good. You know how that is.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in the motion?
Also,
I'll move.
okay, I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Meeks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. About lost where I was at on that.
Jesse Angie called me the other day and they had the, piece of equipment that's out at, Noxious Weed. So, does Todd realize he needs to bring that before the board so we can sell it up there at the Skill?
Well, this is the one he talked to you guys about last fall, I think, in the,
This is, but he's got a trailer he's wanting to get rid of now, or a box trailer or something, doesn't he?
isn't that the Chop Kick box, yellow
Well,
box
this is a
trailer?
van box truck is what this is. I think.
Okay, that may be the one he's
Yeah,
calling.
this is it.
Okay, sorry.
And
That may be the one he's calling.
yeah, and so when he was here last fall or whenever, you guys told him to go through Purple Wave or Big Iron, and he tried that and had no luck. So he decided that he wanted to go through someone local, and he thought with that option out there, it does pretty good, that maybe he could have better luck. And we realized that he did not do the disposal notice, so we have to have this done.
Items are miscellaneous. 9:05, Connie Lawrence, County Clerk.
Morning, how are
Good
you?
morning. Good, yourself?
Good. We have 5 minutes. Personnel,
5-minute executive session, you and us.
yes, please.
5 minutes gonna be enough?
I think so.
Okay.
Pretty brief.
I can get this thing to work, Connie, I'll get it down to 5 minutes.
Got the mallet right there in front of you.
Yeah, that's
Smash it.
5-minute executive session, county appraiser and the board.
That's so moved.
Moved by,
Well, we're leaving, you don't have to.
seconded by Meeks, moved by, Huguenin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's personnel regarding what?
Non-elected personnel.
Mhm.
Regarding, usually there's like a.
Job performance,
Job.
Okay.
we will enter at, 9:10 for 5 minutes.
We're gonna get all the other verbiage and associated with it.
Yeah. All right, no action taken on the last motion.
I had a phone call Friday evening from Sheriff's Office, and there was somebody in Waverly on Friday saying they were from the appraiser's office. Excuse me, we were not in Waverly. So I'm just letting you guys know that that might be something that's starting to go on. So I'm working with the Sheriff's Office on that.
They're always in a county vehicle, they give a county
With their-
badge.
Yes.
They give a badge?
Yeah.
I guess that's not for the citizens.
And it was a
to-
guy and my two filthy for the women, so,
Mhm.
and Mark was in the office, so none of that. But I wanted to make you guys aware of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
9:15, Flint Hills Technical College, President and Vice President.
Good morning.
Good
morning. Thank you all for letting us have a few minutes of your meeting this morning. So, a couple of things really that I want to share with you, and the reason I've asked to come and just present to you. We have, as you're well aware, and just as you all are out, we were talking about, the big opportunities coming up for the county. But we've had a couple of conversations ongoing for a little over a year and a half now, 18, 20 months, where Flint Hills Technical College has really been wanting to deliver programming in Coffee County. And what does that look like, and how can we do that? And so we really have that momentum going. And then all of our conversations got redirected to the CHIPS. And we had some different healthcare opportunities going and some various things like that. So we feel like, and we just want to bring back to you some opportunities or some possibilities, because we don't feel like waiting for this project in 2 or 3 years or 4 years. We're just talking about the pace of government. And so that we didn't want to wait that long in order for opportunities to come into Coffee County, that we can ensure the opportunity to get some of the citizens of Coffee County easier access to technical education, easier access maybe to training, or what that might look like. And so I want to entertain that conversation and try to ensure that we keep that opportunity open, and that you all are assured and know that Flint Hills Technical College, we will do and try to provide whatever we can to support Coffee County. So with that, you've got this packet in front of you. So let me walk you through some of that, because there's a few other talking points I want to go through with you on that. And I've got a packet also, but my items may not be in the same order as yours. So what I'm going to have you look at initially is this document. I don't know if you can see that. Yes, it's on the left side. This is what we create for the legislators. So this is what, whenever we go up to Topeka, or if we're meeting with any of our legislators, maybe it's Eric Smith, maybe it's Mark Schreiber, maybe it's Jeff Longbine, our representatives or senators, as we're meeting with any of them, we want to make sure they understand somewhat of kind of our priorities and what we represent. So I do want to show you that this is what we presented. So we had our legislative priorities. You've got 3 bullets under there. Request continued support of Excel and CTE, continue to fund capital outlay at the 22-23 level or increase. I want to get to that point. I want to get back to that point. And then support the Kansas Tech College's proposal to fund a base grant for technical college capital and operational needs. So if you'll flip that over, I do want to kind of show you as a technical college, the technical colleges in the state of Kansas are not allowed to have taxing authority, right? So we don't get mill levy. We don't get any third leg, what I would call a third leg of support. That's not common necessarily in funding higher education, especially at a 2-year environment. So we, as the technical college, don't have bonding. We don't have the ability to do a bond. We don't have the ability to do the mill levy. And so our 2 legs of support are the state and student tuition. And it is always very disappointing to me when we have to increase student tuition to allow us to be able to afford some of the equipment and some of the needs. So you'll see on that right where it's kind of, and I'm hoping you're not colorblind, but there's a gold and a blue. Those gold and blue in that circle, the gold is the amount of funding that we get from the state in revenues for our operating revenue. And then you see 30% of that is from students. And then there are some incidental costs, some auxiliaries and other here and there. We're going to have to certainly start looking at more grant opportunities for the college itself, because as you're all also well aware, the state continues to cut back. University systems are much more expensive to operate than a technical college, so a lot of that funding is going to often go to our university structure. And so I just wanted you to be aware of that's how, we don't have that third leg. So that capital outlay, for instance, that I was just sharing with you, that we have asked the state to keep at a 23 level, from what it looks like, that's been cut. So for instance, in 22, capital outlay for buildings from the 1960s, 1970s, our total capital outlay to sustain and maintain our facilities, $129,000. So I think you all very well understand how far $129,000 goes on facilities from the 60s and 70s with aging HVAC systems. So last year it moved up to $375,000. We took advantage of that. We put in a couple of new systems. So we were like, okay, we've got this. Well, this year it just got cut back. So I think it's back to about the 250 range. Is what they're going to be doing for this year. It's not been secured yet, but with everything I see coming through, I think that's kind of what when they close session, that's probably what it's looking like. So that's just one example. I just wanted to kind of share with you that example. But then let's go down to the student success. So I'm back on this page. All right, so it's the student success, and then there's 6 or 7 bullets underneath that I really want to highlight. Our practical nursing program, recognized by Mountain Measurement as #1 out of 1,107 programs nationwide. So our students and their pass rate for their NCLEX over the span of a 12-month window, #1 in the nation. For the 3rd consecutive year, recognized by the Chronicle of Higher Ed as ranking in the top 10 associate degree granting colleges with the best 3-year graduation rates. This is the data at the bottom of the page, so that you see an FHTC, and then you see 12th, 9th, 1st, and 10th. That means in the nation. That's not a percentage. We're not the top 10%. So that's the actual number. So in 2017, out of 876 2-year colleges, and that includes our community and technical colleges nationally, out of 876, we were number 12. You'll go across the column, out of 865 2-year colleges, we were number 9. In 2019, we were number 1 in the nation on that graduation rate. And then in 2020, we were number 10 in the nation. And again, that's the top, ends up being the top 1 to 2%, not just the top 10% or something like that. So our employees are able to do a lot, our faculty and our staff, and we're really committed to technical education, and you can see that from our results. So that's one thing that I really wanted to share to one degree, is that our employees are committed to ensuring our students get placed. There's another document in there, I believe it's a lime green one, maybe on the right side. That's our most recent placement report. So if you'll open that up, I think what you're going to see is a 94% placement report. And so, let me see if I have that so I can walk you through where that data is that you really want to look at. I have one in here.
I can share.
Oh, you could share.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if, I have an old one. All right, so on this report, if you go to the far column, you are going to see the average annual salaries for the students who come out of those. One thing that I want to add is this data is from COVID. So we generally run at 96 to 98% placement rate of our students. So the placement rate has 2 definitions. So one is either a student chose to go on for other education, so maybe they went for their bachelor's degree, or they went for additional training, or they got employed in their industry. So that number represents that total. So if you go down to the blue bar at the bottom, where it's in this next to the last column, 192 students were placed at a 94% placement rate, and then that's the average salary for all the students. And you see those salaries range anywhere from the 70s to the 70s, the 50s, 40s, 20s. So depending on what that student goes into and where, thank you, sir, I appreciate that, and where they are able to be placed, they are starting out as an entry level. Generally, they are 20, 21 years old, and they're stepping into the workforce with those opportunities then ahead of them. So that's our placement. And as I said, this is COVID data. So the numbers are, we're hoping when we see our next one, the 2023 data, that there's a little bit of an uptick from that, back up to kind of our normal range in the 96 to 98% placement range. I did an analysis of a 10-year placement range, and the 10-year placement range puts us at about a 97%. And so What is good about our technical education is that obviously the students come to it, they're not exploring, right? These students know they want to go into dental hygiene or dental assisting or welding or automotive technology. They have that affinity, they've got that mechanical ability, they've got that commitment to healthcare, what that might be, and they know they want to go into that industry. So that is to our advantage with that idea, because those students are very committed, and then we have the faculty are very committed to ensuring the student's success. So, I just wanted to give you all that background, and now I'm going to give you a little bit more information.
Can I ask you,
Oh,
how do you
absolutely.
pronounce your first name?
Karen?
Karen?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
No, thanks
The
for
number-
asking.
Let's see, number graduated. I guess I looked in the number contacted. 9 of them are less than 10 employees per class, 9 of them are above. Do we need to try to contact more in the specific 9 categories or 10 categories? Are the teachers you got teaching those low numbers, is that being effective or efficient?
So, can I see that, just so I can have a
Well,
better,
I didn't
I'm
mark
sorry.
the
Oh,
numbers.
no, let me
Over
just-
here
I
in
just wanna-
contract, there's 9 below 10 and 9 above 10. It's not quite that way over here, but there's still 7 or 8
Mhm.
classes less than 10. So how
So
efficient?
that's the number who were contacted, right? That are
Well,
numbers.
over here it is, but that
Right.
first column isn't.
So
that's
those are the
number
numbers who
graduated.
graduated in that program. That's not saying, that, it may take some students 3 years. It may
Okay.
take some students 2
All right.
years.
So you're
So-
flexible enough that if it takes 1 or 2 or 3 years to go through the program?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's still counting in this because we get called, our numbers are able to do what's called time and a half.
Yeah.
So if it would take a student normally 2 years, we can still count in a 3-year window for students who graduate. Some of the numbers we have to keep low because of accreditation requirements. So for instance, we have 1 faculty for emergency services. That's an area we're hoping to build up, and we're hoping that's going to be sitting up north of here. There's going to be an emergency services program, there's going to be, I hope, a nursing program, and there's going to be, I hope, a dental program that we're going to see up north. So these are things that we're hoping to see as part of all of this initiative and this effort. We're already, we have the capacity to, if we have the, and we've had conversations with the hospital and some different, but if there were an opportunity for us to bring over our LPN nurse program, we could do that in August. We have the seat capacity. So we need a little bit more nudge of the conversation, and I think we could probably start seeing the potential of nursing and what we could do to try to work with the Kansas Board of Nursing on the number of students
And
we
we
have.
know we need nurses.
Right? Right? So, Newman Regional Health just had a mock interview session with our LPN students last week, and at the mock interview, hired 5 of them on the spot. And I think they did the mock status, and some students were like, can I go do this? Can I do this? Can I change my resume? And have more conversation? And they're like, absolutely, we'll meet with you in 2 weeks. So 5 of them are hired on the spot. Who knows what'll be hired once the students kind of fresh up on how do I do a delivery of an interview, right? So a couple of other questions. Thank you, Commissioner, for asking that question. And some of those numbers you are going to see lower. I would also add, it's our facilities. Like, we have wait lists. We don't have the room, the physical capacity to bring in more students, but we have the wait list of the students who want to come in.
And that's the reason he's wanted to come in down here if it would have worked out.
Absolutely, right? And we're hoping that, again, I've got some ideas here, and I want to see how you entertain, what your thoughts on some of these ideas we present.
So you've got a wait list now?
Many of our dental hygiene program has a wait list. Welding, we hired the new person, and they already have some capacity for that, and I'll explain a little bit more about the welding. So depending on the program, yes, we do. Our graphic arts program, for instance, probably does not have
Sure.
a wait list.
I assumed it wasn't all of them, but
Correct.
you do have
A lot of our industrial
Oh, we
programs,
do.
our industrial engineering, our welding.
Our industrial engineering, we're already figuring out how we're gonna knock down a wall and expand some of their PLC needs and some of that, because, we also feel committed to respond to what the industry trends are and what directions those are going. And so there are some things that we're gonna have to do, to increase that capacity. The hope would also be that we would have an industrial engineering capacity up north too. So those are some things we would like to see. There will also be the semiconductor, so that's a program that we'll be adding. What our hope is that the semiconductor can be a year 2 of our existing industrial engineering program, because it already works a lot with the electronics, with hydraulics, some various things. So we may just need to add vacuum capacity and look at some different things. And so we've been thinking about that and doing a lot of that. Here's where I want to kind of shift our conversation to some degree. So you see that we've got our 2 forms of revenue, our tuition and state. And I'm giving the idea of the capital outlay. One thing that we do, especially to Lyon County, so I want to give you an example of Lyon County. We've gone to Lyon County and asked for X number of dollars, and so that helps support some of our IT infrastructure needs, and it helps support some of our maintenance needs. So they have provided from their mill levy or whatever, they've provided us on occasion, actually I think for the 3rd or 4th year, and we're getting ready to present to them also, some funding to help us either get new equipment, and equipment, let me also explain, our academic equipment, some of our academic equipment is eligible for Perkins funds. So Perkins provides funding, which is a federal grant for technical education. Perkins will allow us to buy certain percentage of our equipment through Perkins funds. That doesn't cover all of it. So we've expanded a hygiene lab, and that's been done with some funding as well as private donors. We've expanded the dental assisting lab. So we've done some things that we've been able to use some of the Perkins equipment funding, but for the capacity and what our needs are, as you all are well aware, when you buy equipment, it's not inexpensive to get a piece of equipment. So another thing we do, we have presented to the City of Emporia. And through that presentation, we were able to add, and so we are starting this program in the fall, early childhood. That will be a program that we're hoping will serve significant needs, not just in Lyon County, but also in Coffee County, especially as we hear this 24/7 kind of child care commitment for the types of needs that are going to be at these facilities. So we start an early childhood program this fall. We hired the faculty member, and that was through the City of Emporia. It provided us some underwriting funds to get that up and going. We also did not have a position that many people might consider as workforce development. We've called it economic partnerships. It is the non-credit side. Let's say someone just wants to take an 8-week training, and that 8-week training is not credit, but it might be a certificate. So maybe someone gets an entry-level construction certificate, and then maybe if they do 1 or 2 of those for a construction program, they can slide in and start doing a credit-based program if they have the interest. But we did not have that non-credit where we had a person dedicated to that. City of Emporia helped us initiate that, underwrote that funding for us to get that position started, and now we're going to have someone who's going to be working exclusively with industry who will be able to do these boot camps, specialized training, customized training, some of these kinds of one day, right? Let's just come in and do 1-day training, and then that might be it on what that could be. So, FHTC wants to begin offering training and education opportunities in Coffee County sooner than in 3 or 4 years, or when those facilities, even if groundbreaking is in a year, what that looks like. So, a couple of things that I'm coming to the commission about. We had a large conversation about the Walmart facility, right? And through that conversation, the college was able to secure $500,000 to expand our welding. We are doing that. That $500,000 from the state, that $500,000, has to have a 1-to-1 match. Mike has done a stellar job in getting us some private donations. But one of the opportunities that we would like to take advantage of in this is to get our welding faculty a mobile welder. That mobile welder allows us to come over here once a month, whatever that might be, however we want that to look like, and start doing workforce development and start doing some different training opportunities, introducing folks to entry-level welding or whatever that level might be. How can we take advantage of that? A mobile welding unit would be a response to that we can try to immediately start doing that. I think another part of the conversation would be the possibility of that workforce development. I was sharing with you the position that is devoted to workforce development. What are some ways we can try to get that position to work with the industries and companies in Coffee County and start doing short-term training now, as opposed to 3 or 4 years from now? As we all know, that workforce has to be ready to go when those doors open. If I understand it correctly, on the last day of the 3rd year, the widgets have to be out the door. So the training and everything that's going on has to be going on well before the people are employed. So when they get on that floor, they know what they're doing. They know the safety protocols, they've gone through OSHA training, they know the industry expectations. And so these are some ways we feel we can also get ahead of the curve, is to look at these mobile training opportunities, such as a mobile welding unit. There are also the possibility of a dental unit being a mobile unit, something such as that. The possibility of additional underwriting for this position with the economic development position, workforce development, where that person would have perhaps some access to some resources to be able to come over and work with Coffee County and establish some boot camps or some various things like that. So those would be some things that we would, that brings me here today, is to ask if Coffee County would have the capacity or the ability, possibly through the end of the year, or if it's something that starts at July 1 as a support for some specific opportunities or specific programming that aligns directly to some of the needs in the county, as well as kind of our future over the next few years, but not waiting for that, but what can we do to be proactive to establish some of these opportunities? And then I would take more of your questions.
I would, every time I hear mobile, I think expensive.
A mobile unit is $106,000.
How many welders could you buy for that?
In terms
Well,
of mobile
we're-
welders or actually like fixed welders? They're
Fixed
probably, the welders themselves are about 20,000 apiece, roughly 20 to 25,000, but that's just the welder. By the time you figure in the booth, the electrical, you're
Booth.
probably gonna spend 50,000 per setup. So probably 2.
And how
maybe.
many, and how many's on the mobile?
So this would be a
Oh,
truck with a
it's-
mobile welder
It's
on it.
basically a huge generator.
It'd be a large
truck.
generator welder, yes,
Yes.
that's on a truck that they could bring over and,
Yes.
and train.
Which
How
would
how
have,
many workstations
Yeah.
like that are?
I mean, it would have, I guess like it would be one truck. I don't know how
They
many.
would
we
essentially be
still have.
teaching
One
outside or,
that-
like, it wouldn't be like a fixed welding booth.
Like they would
you
go to a
stand in booth.
location.
It would be, they would go to a location, they would teach welding
more along the
on
lines of
site.
outdoor welding,
Yes.
stick welding.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
MIG,
that's
TIG,
what I didn't
whatever.
know. what
That,
you
would
were-
that be a MIG, TIG, stick, which,
Probably all, yeah,
Be
that
all,
would
so
have to do
all.
all, yeah.
And how many could you handle then, how number of persons that could handle, would that, mobile unit handle?
So I think it would depend on the number of faculty we'd have there. So that, let's say one faculty comes over, and let's say there's a group of probably 5.
Okay.
It would be access to, and that may be, but I would say a smaller group of
Sure.
4 or 5 people that would have access
Okay.
to what is this, how do you do it, introduction to the entry-level processes
Right.
associated with the beads and that with welding and the different types of welding.
Yeah, I would say, I think that's, depending on the group and their abilities and the instructor,
Sure.
probably 5 to 10, depending on what it is that they're training
And
on.
like if it were even like a Saturday, let's
At
just
a
say
time,
a Saturday,
yeah.
right? Let's say a Saturday morning through early afternoon, It's not gonna be obviously every person on that,
Right.
but they're gonna get different access. Like a faculty member may take one and start going over blueprints, right? But then the others have the practice at the machine and the equipment.
Sure.
So different
Yeah.
types such as that.
And we do have some virtual welders
Mhm.
that are Emporia facilities, so it may be a scenario where they may bring over a virtual welder or two as well, where they could have a student or two working on the virtual stuff while they're working with another student. So I think they could, the instructors, the faculty
Right.
would figure out how to,
The
what that would look
virtual
like.
welders are really
So
nice
you'd be
because
working, with blueprints all the way through the actual transition into the
Right.
product?
yes.
depending on, I think every scenario will be, because it'll be more of a customized
I think it
training.
depends on what, if it is a customized training, right? So it's like, here's a very specialized training, here's what we're going to deliver with the customized training. I mean, that's a very different conversation than the academic programming.
Sure.
That is that you get a certificate after 1 year or the degree after 2 years.
So what this would be doing is students would start, and if they liked it, then they could continue on. If they didn't, if that wasn't their cup of tea, then they
Right.
would, that's what this would be, more or
Absolutely.
less.
Absolutely. Or maybe maybe you have students who never have a desire to go to a full-fledged welding shop, but they want to learn the basics of some welding, because maybe they're going back to work
They
at
work on a
farm, or
ranch
they're
or
doing,
something.
but they need some basic skill sets to go back and work in, at the auto shop or wherever
Right.
that they may need some of those basic skill sets.
You need a building to put that,
That was,
need a building to put it in, or they just work outdoors when it's good weather?
the reason I thought that we were talking about something contained, because about how we're gonna deal with the weather.
Because of what they have asked for their year 2, some of this funding that we have, we're developing up, they have asked us to create the faculty, and that's what I'm referencing. The faculty have developed a plan to create an outdoor welding space for a water wall,
The water wall, they're gonna do some
And-
pit welding.
Oh,
primarily because they want them to have access to, you're gonna be welding in outdoor spaces, and it might not be
That's
the best
fine.
of
I
conditions.
understand that.
So I don't think it is only like if it's blue skies, we're gonna be having a welding class. I think that it would be that, and then, so I misunderstood your question initially. I was like, so we have the
Well, I
garage
just didn't know
space
what this looked
initially?
like, I'm trying to envision
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
But I think this could grow into, I think it would start out with some of these short-term trainings with the mobile welding deal, where on a day like today, they have a class and they're teaching. It may grow into a more permanent facility, similar to what we started talking about with the Walmart facility.
Obviously, we would
Okay.
still love to have
Certainly could grow
that
into that,
capacity.
without a doubt.
Because of just the timing and by getting the funding from the state, we had to make some decisions to move that forward. So we're expanding our facility in Emporia, but we're also taking those funds, and that's where the faculty have said, for year 2 students, they don't need to be in the booth any longer. Year 1 is for the booth. So they're in the booth, they're learning that, they're learning the beading, they're learning all of these things. Year 2, they need to learn how to they're gonna be, harnessed in,
On the ladder.
right?
Right.
They're gonna be possibly in a pit.
Right.
They're gonna be, so
Learning
we
the
want to
pieces
at
so they
least
can
get
fabricate
them
Things.
introduced to,
Yeah.
you're not always gonna be welding in a welding booth. That's
right.
not
It's
realistic.
not always gonna be in a
Right,
production line.
right,
It's gonna be
So-
out in the open,
exactly.
in all kinds of weather.
So that's our year 2, that's what the faculty are moving the year 2 program to, part of the program is to that kind of, with the, and I apologize, I didn't bring one of the faculty, they could certainly give you so much more information than what my
I think
limited knowledge is, and
as
I
you know,
Mike
obviously,
could give
construction
more.
work and those are these, they don't stop in Kansas for 3 months out of the year when the weather starts to get bad. They work through, as much weather as they can. Obviously, if it's pouring rain and thunderstorm, and they're not gonna be outside welding, but they work through.
Not that it
weather
was a
situations.
beautiful morning Saturday
Right.
morning, but we had all 3 of our welding faculty, one of our gates fell over on, a gate fell. So they came in on their Saturday morning on Easter weekend and did fix the gate for us. So that was very much appreciated that. So it's good to have those.
Some of
skills.
those things are exactly what we're talking about, where people have the skill set to be able to go in and do those kind of things.
Yeah.
Looking more along the lines of a pipeliner site.
Yep.
Pipeliner.
Exactly.
Welding out in the world, gate welding, fence building.
Right.
Corrals, I
Everything.
mean, everything.
Right.
Farm fixing.
In order to get funding from the state, it's a one-to-one match, is that right?
It is.
That's correct.
It is.
Yes.
And the truck and the unit and all of that is the last, I think it was late December, so late 22, the faculty had, looked at one that was, I think, $105,000. So that's where we would ask for 55 or so, 50, 55, to go toward that, and that we would be committed to ensuring that access would come over here, as soon as possible.
Sure.
I'm
So
assuming
for
that's a
that
new
one,
unit.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
A new unit. I'm assuming.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I think our thoughts is this is the first step that we can do quickly to start offering some training here, with the ability then to, over the next several years, as things continue to progress, then we can look at more permanent offerings.
Right, right.
So once
And what
again,
that facility looks like, right, up north.
how are you gonna get it from point A to point B?
The faculty member
The
would
trailer?
drive, it is a farm truck.
It's basically like a flatbed truck
Like
with
flatbed.
a large generator welder on it, so the faculty would drive
They
it
would just drive it.
to wherever they're training.
So there's-
Non-CDL?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, it'd be just like a 1-ton, 1-ton flatbed truck with a, with a generator welder on it.
Or just on the truck
Yeah,
itself?
on the
Yes.
truck itself.
It
Yes,
is,
correct.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Welded.
would not be a
to the
trailer.
truck,
Yeah.
right.
You have to get matching funds for the full 500 before you get any dollar of it?
I think if we
So
have
if you have
until
100, if you get 100 to match, then you can spend
we can
200.
go
Correct.
to a certain point,
Yes.
right.
What's the
So,
time frame on, what's the time frame on that 500's available?
The end of this academic year.
End of this, December 31st?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, end of this fiscal year, June 30th.
June 30, so over the next
Okay,
couple of
June
months.
30.
Yeah, I apologize, yeah. So the state runs on that, well, for us,
So you only
our
got 2
fiscal
months.
year is July to June,
You've only got 2 months to raise that then?
yeah.
Correct.
To get the rest of that,
It
yeah.
is in June.
We have raised part of it already.
We have,
I could hear that.
Yeah, we've already
Yeah.
submitted for, 240,000, so we've received 240 from the state.
and this is where that outdoor, if you will, the outdoor welding facility that is, behind the existing welding facility, where they're building that up. So a lot of what this is going to right now is that, what the faculty have identified as year 2 operations, to give students more of that industry experience, again, outside of the booth.
And it could be that, the faculty come over here and teach, a couple of Saturdays with a group, and then maybe they bring that group then over to Emporia for a third and fourth Saturday to do some things with the new pit and things we're building there, they could, depending on what the needs are of
We've
folks
got
here, we have
all
options to
kinds of
work,
potential
to work
options.
through those kind of things.
I know I've asked this question before, and high school had a phenomenal welding program. Is there anything in there that can be, or is there any type of ties between Flint Hills and the Burlington High School that could catapult your welding class without having a building, a whole new facility?
I'm not familiar with their welding program.
I'm not either. I have
so
not
I
heard
did
of
not
their
know that.
program.
And I suspect that could be some conversations. I'm not sure how many booths are there,
And I know that.
because I know students come to our program from
Right.
Burlington.
Right, but I know they used to.
Sure.
And I'm not in that district, not in that school, but to my knowledge, I was told here a while back that they had a phenomenal welding.
Well,
Well, I think we would be,
great. We'd be completely
Yeah.
open to
Instead of trying to
those
reinvent the
conversations.
wheel.
absolutely.
If there's something here
By
that's
all
already
means.
phenomenal, can Flint Hills partner with Burlington High School to make something
Yeah,
outstanding?
I think we'd love to visit with Craig and maybe
I-
tour his
I'm like-
facility and.
I've had so many conversations with Craig, I'm surprised that, like, why are we not doing this here at the high school? I'm not sure why we've not had that conversation if that facility is,
And something sits in my mind, maybe the original welding shop teacher retired.
I believe that is correct.
So maybe they don't use the facilities.
Maybe they don't
Anymore.
use it as much or use it to what it could be, but it could be,
Well,
it's been.
Yeah, we have no
Absolutely.
idea what
That's
that
what,
is,
you
so
know, and
that
I
would
think I
be-
brought that up once before when you all was down here looking at the Walmart building. I was like, I understand that Burlington School has a phenomenal welding.
Right.
And so if that's something that could be, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe it could be better spent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that could be
Absolutely.
maybe where some of the education is happening. Maybe we bring the truck over,
Right.
they're doing some outdoor welding, they're doing some indoor stuff. I think we could absolutely visit with Craig about that and
Yeah.
see what,
You know. I mean, I think it'd be an awesome fit, you know, that's just,
mhm.
We're just not familiar with what it is, so we'll learn that.
and like I say,
We'll
I
figure
might be
that out.
all wrong, but that's just what I've heard in the
Because
past.
I'm just
I don't
surprised
know.
with all of those conversations that we had early
Mhm.
on, why that was not a,
Well, I don't know if they even looked at it as an option or anybody looked at it as an
Right.
option, but I mean, if they've got it, and they might have changed it, I don't know, you know, but I do know.
I know we
now.
have Burlington students come to the program in
Right,
Operator.
and I'm
That's
sure
what
they
I
do
thought.
in the senior and senior year, because
Right.
they're
Junior and
wanting to
senior,
get,
right.
they're wanting to get that
more advanced
extra,
training.
more advanced training.
Right.
But they've been started at freshman
Awesome.
Okay.
coming up.
Yeah,
And
we
so-
will, I'll reach out to Craig this week.
You know, I know a girl that was at Lebo, and she quit going to Lebo and come to Burlington so she could go into the welding
Yeah.
class in Burlington.
Excellent.
And she's out pipelining on the road now,
Yep.
so.
One of the faculty, we have 3 faculty, and one of them is a woman. She does a phenomenal job.
And we typically have four
Several
to
females
6,
in the
7, 8
program.
females go through the program every year.
But yeah, we will certainly follow up with Craig on that and see what that capacity is and what that
I'm not saying
opportunity
that we're
might
not
be.
gonna be contributing sponsors to Flint Hills, but I'm just saying, if we don't need to reinvent the wheel, why, you know, why not?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We would not, you see the kind of budget we operate on. That is, I heard you say your personnel budget, right? I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, that takes the
Mhm.
majority of what you got coming in, right? Your
Yeah.
revenue is that, those expenses with your personnel costs are most of those, so. I hear that, yes. So, but yes, as I said, one thing I think is critical for folks to understand is that we take what we do very seriously. That is another thing that is frustrating, I think, for some people because we're not exploratory. For students who want to just come in and see, this I think is where other options of, let's do a weekend class, right? Because if a student comes into a welding class and really just wants to check it out and try it out, I mean, that's thousands of dollars of equipment and resources and gases that, so I think that's where some folks get really frustrated with us, is it's not an exploratory, like it really is students who know, I want to go into welding. And maybe it's just 1 year. I at least want to do 1 year of welding or whatever that is. That's totally great. That's awesome. But it's not a, I'm going to take welding this semester, and the next semester I'm going to try IET, and then I'm going to try this, and that's not, we're not exploratory, right? We're
Yeah.
really dedicated to those operations, and I think our success rate shows that, and our faculty commitment.
I've got one more question,
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll shut my mouth.
No, I appreciate your questions. We want to make sure
Does Flint Hills Votech require people to have COVID shot to come to,
No,
No.
or be in? Okay.
no, that's a personal choice.
With a lot of your students coming in, do you have dormitory there? as
We
well?
do not,
Okay.
we do not have
I
resident
kinda-
halls.
I figured you probably did.
We
We-
do not.
We do have some relationships with some apartment complexes that are near and around the campus, that they offer some rates to our students, and so we do have some students take advantage of that.
That, just like everywhere it is.
I'm curious, like on a weekend, say your mobile unit would come into Burlington.
Sure.
What kind of cost per,
That's a great question. We would have to figure that out, right? So that is, I think that's a reasonable question. I'm going to give you a quick in Kansas City example.
Sure,
All right?
sure.
So the cost might be a little bit different, but when I was with Metropolitan in Kansas City, we did a construction boot camp. It was a 6-week thing, so it wasn't just a one-day
Right.
thing, right? But for that 6 weeks, for the students who participated, they came out not with credit hours, but they came out with like level 1 and 2 certification, and they had OSHA certification. So they had these like very entry-level certifications, and that cost about $4,000 per student. So,
That was for-
4 to
that was for
5,000,
6 weeks.
and that's for a 6 week,
6 week,
right?
right.
So I don't think it'd be more, I mean, I can't
No, I
gauge
know
that, but it would have to be, you know, the ability to pay the faculty members' time, the ability to make sure the resources were covered,
Sure.
things like that. So probably for a one-day training, I think in the few hundreds kind of thing, but that's really, I can't.
Program you're talking about in Kansas City was a week long, not a.
Correct.
Not a week.
Right.
Exactly, not a
Right.
weekend.
That
And so I think
Correct.
it's 6
So
weeks.
that's
Yeah.
not,
Okay.
right, it's not really apples to apples.
And we're
No, I
talking one
understand.
day weekend, but we may, I mean, it depending on what the needs are, maybe there is a 6-week course that we're doing here, maybe there is a weekend, like there's, I think it's gonna depend upon, the nice thing is it allows us flexibility to pivot and meet the
Right.
needs of what
Right.
that
Of
group
what-
of students needs,
Right.
you know.
And our new industry partner, economic partnerships name person is Corey Spikes. He may at some point be reaching out to you all because it is that kind, his charge is, we need to do workforce development. We need to do a one-day training. What does that look like? We need to do a week-long or a 6-week-long training. What does that look like? What are the needs? When I came through and I went down to Leroy, you know, I went and kind of talked to a few folks. The biggest need that I heard was plumbers and those in framers, and those in construction area. How do we respond to that, right? We want to do this. We were limited, so now we have a person who's like, okay, now Corey's gonna go out and start talking to folks. How do we do this short-term training? What do you need? So we're bit by bit getting there, but it is, again, it's about resources. Like I said, his position was for that first year, and he knows that he is somewhat of a salesperson. He needs to, over the next few years, make enough that he's gonna pay for his own salary, essentially. So, I mean, this is just how we have to operate for some of these. And so, it's supportive, that kind of a position or that role or what that might be. So I think there are various ways that we would ask the county commission to think about what could be ways to focus on workforce development, focus on education, and let's try to see what we can do over the next few months, the next 6 months, as opposed to let's wait 2 to 3 more years. Because we were ready a year ago to start producing and start bringing folks over here and get that facility up and going. And I will absolutely connect with, because if it's just an evening thing we can do
Yeah.
while the
Or
student's not there,
weekends or-
we'll see what we can find out about
Yeah.
that. So thank you for sharing that.
And it
So I
might be
was
something that
not-
they might even look at a full-time deal.
Right.
Who knows? I
No, I
mean, you
think
don't
it's
know until
great.
you start the conversation.
And if nothing else comes out of today, that right there is
Yeah.
great, you know, and Craig and I talk, I would say, fairly regularly, and so, why that has not come up, you know, we'll make that an intentional conversation though.
So previously, I know the Walmart building had been issues with it, but Tom would know more about it, but I believe it's all been settled. A new person has it.
It's still for sale. The previous owner, had a partner, and the previous owner passed away, and so now the partner is in charge of it, so to speak, or, I don't know exactly how to explain it. So, that would tie into my question to you today is, so basically you're here today to see what kind of assistance financially we could give you
Yes, sir.
for the mobile unit, but we've touched on so many different things. So I myself, and maybe it require another lengthy meeting with us all
Mhm.
to see what it would look like if you had access to the Walmart building, we're gonna call it, and what kind of programs could you enter into that? I mean, if you, I guess, so my question in the end is, if that building was accessible to you, would you need the mobile unit? Or is the mobile unit still a tool in your toolbox to help other
Both.
people? Both.
I'm gonna say that the mobile unit is a tool in the toolbox. I think it is, we've had a lot of needs where that could be a really great tool for our faculty. However, I would entertain additional conversations, if that facility were to become available. Now, how that impacts what's gonna go on up there, I don't know, right? So I think
Right.
that's where, now we've got that other variable as part of the conversation, but could there be some kind of, delivery of some kind of programming?
And
I
I'm
think
not,
we could, if that were, maybe we do revisit that conversation, and we would be welcome to do that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying move your welding program there. I mean, what other program could you put
That was
there?
certainly our intent. We
Okay.
could also do industrial engineering. I know that's a plan
Good.
for up north.
Is that building big enough to do multiple things in it as it sits now?
It depends on what the program
Right.
would be, because of the lab space and the equipment
And that would
space.
be your
Right.
guys' expertise.
Right.
Yeah, we could easily do this, we could easily do that.
Right.
And
And
that's
that's-
where we had some of those conversations early on, and when we started talking about welding, because of the nature of welding, the gas, the smoke, the dust, it's very difficult to put
It had the.
any other program with it.
It had the
because
electrical
right,
infrastructure.
Because but if it's not welding, then potentially you could put 2 or 3 programs in there, it just
Right.
depends on
And that's where
what the programming is.
my mind is headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, that's why I think it would be great to have that conversation.
If that's back on the market, I think we need to seriously talk about something. I didn't realize it's back on the market,
Yes, to my knowledge, yes.
no.
Because
Last
I
time I
think-
heard a month ago, it was, it wasn't available.
Certainly up north would serve the 35 corridor and kind of that general region. I think if there was something down here, that gets us a little bit more in the southeast part of Kansas and draws some southeast.
Your
areas.
plan is still something up north, is that correct?
Just because it's part of the grant?
No, right.
Right,
That's
yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes.
So this would be something else.
It'd be
Yeah,
supplemental.
that is-
My concern would be, like, we don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul, right? Like, is that going to have its own capacity? Is there a whole other population that we can draw for some of that programming? And what would that, obviously, for our region, welding, industrial engineering, nursing, dental programs are probably those anchor programs. Would you think of, maybe IT, right?
Yeah, our
Whatever
network
IT.
technology,
You know what, we could entertain the conversation as well,
that's
related
possibly, because they're,
to agriculture.
yeah, we're having some conversations related to some ag programming, but we haven't determined exactly what that looks like yet, but that could be some
So,
options as well.
because that would have space for some right, different
Mhm.
things like that. So,
Sure.
I would appreciate that conversation. I think we would welcome it. I think once that was purchased, I think a lot of us pivoted and it just kind of went off the radar.
Right.
And then everything north started kind of really capitalized or kind of took everybody's conversations and
We got
focused.
sidetracked.
We got
Right.
sidetracked. So now that that's moving forward, I think we would have to be, because that's going to be obviously focused on the semiconductor and what are the support systems for semiconductor. But I think certainly health systems and our industries are core to our region, and any of those kinds of programs are going to draw students.
Well, and I think that was part of our discussions. There's so many moving parts with all the different initiatives that are going on. This would allow us to maybe start offering some immediate academic programming here so that folks could start to see the opportunities that are for them as we continue to figure out, is there a nursing program
Mhm.
up here?
What's
Is
that
there
look
early
like?
childhood?
Right.
What do these other programs look
Right.
like? But at least Flint Hills is starting to put a presence in coffee counties that folks are starting to get accustomed to seeing and taking advantage of those opportunities.
We have an employee who lives here who wants to work from here 1 or 2 days, so so there's a lot of areas that we've already logistically kind of gotten prepared through the prior conversation. So we would, and I don't know, I can have my office manager, assistant, maybe reach out, or we want to just come back to another meeting. I don't want to take all your time in a meeting at some point. But I do want to give you more information. I want us to have some time to take a step back and look at some other opportunities in the event that were accessible.
I'm with Jesse, I don't think it's off the table that there would be some sort of assistance from the county commission. But he had a valid idea, let's see what the school,
Absolutely.
absolutely work
Oh, yeah.
with them, see what we could do there.
If you could do your
And then-
welding, I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you could do your welding at the school and turn this into your nursing, whatever,
IT,
I mean,
whatever.
IT, whatever, it'd just be a big
Win-win
benefit.
for
It'd be a
both parties.
win-win.
Yeah.
Sure.
In my
And it
opinion.
helps.
Sure. See, this is the feedback we need. It's
So
not,
I'm wondering if we set something up to where somebody from Flint Hills comes down and meets with 1 or 2 of us.
Mhm.
We just sit down and one afternoon or one morning, whatever, just have a lengthy discussion and
Do that.
get an overall picture to bring to everyone else to
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, this is what it would look like,
Mhm.
this is what the schools has to offer. What
We
do you
could even
think?
we could even have Craig involved in that conversation.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we do a work session in the afternoon?
We could do that.
We could do that, and we'd be more than
That way
happy
we've
to.
got all the commission here in the
I think it'd be
afternoon.
better if all five of us.
Yeah.
And
And Craig,
I wouldn't mind stepping aside,
And
but I
Wade.
think, you know, if we could spend an hour or 2 hours,
Yeah,
do it as a work session, and then everybody would hear everything up front.
that's a very good idea, actually. It's a very good idea.
And maybe somebody could get in touch with the individual that has the Walmart building, just kind
I'll
of
get that taken care
Well-
of.
visit with them and see, and then that
I'm
way we
gonna
could bring that
throw
information.
another idea out there that I've kind of entertained with Craig. College had a construction program, we no longer have a construction program. And the reason for that is you see all these data, like that lime color document, we have to report that to the federal government. So if we have 10 students come in a program, and if we only graduate 2 of those, we're gonna lose funding. Because like, we gave you money for these numbers of students to support this program, and you only graduated 2? Yeah, well, we're not. So, fast forward, 1970s, we had construction programs. Bring it up to 2016. In the 1970s, we had 70, 80 students in that program. Bring it up to 2016, we were graduating 4 and 5 students, because in that first year, in that first semester, the students got the kind of training that the construction partners wanted. So they hired the
So they
students
pulled them
out,
out.
they
Right.
pulled them out, which was detrimental to us, so we had to close that program. I have entertained, as, would you be willing to think about this, a construction academy? Construction academy is at the high school level, so you can't pawn out the employee, right? So the students in their junior and senior year, by the end of that, they would have a construction management degree. If we were to use that facility for something such as that, that's gonna draw all the school districts in this region. That's not just Burlington.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So we did that in Kansas City, at Kansas City North High School. The college was the primary, I was at Metropolitan Community College at that time. We were the primary educator for that. And it was an FHCC, or an FHCC, a metropolitan program, but it was underwritten by, who are the big ones in Kansas City?
J.E. Dunn.
It was underwritten by Dunn. It was so, like, a lot of the construction partners came together to ensure that could happen. And how does that happen? And so, maybe that's something that we think about for that. That becomes I am just brainstorming, right?
Well, I think that's what the
But
work
that-
session could be,
Right?
instead of.
You know, then that
today, it could be
contains
work
in it
session.
plumbing,
Yeah.
that contains in it framing, that contains in it OSHA, that
HVAC.
contains in it
Absolutely.
HVAC. You get a
Absolutely.
little bit of everything in that, possibly.
And if I remember correctly, your construction individual was quite aged and retired.
I was
at
gone,
16.
so I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
he,
to
well, he did, but then we
defer.
had 2 younger guys that were
Mhm.
with us for 2 or 3 years before we had to close the program.
One of them was
Um,
my cousin, I believe.
Yeah, but essentially, it really just came down to, we couldn't keep students to the end of the program,
Right,
because
they-
industry was
it
hiring them
cost
out.
cost you there.
Yeah,
It's great for the industry, because they were getting them, but it
right.
Your numbers look bad.
And-
Right.
Implement
And
that
this
in the
is-
high school side, that'll work out a lot better.
Right.
Right, and then alternatively, these short-term trainings, let's do an 8-week for an adult who doesn't want to go through a 2-year program,
Right.
but they need power tool, they need OSHA training, they need basic measurements, basic framing. Do that in a 6 or 8 week window, so they can go in to a construction site, and that supervisor doesn't have to sit there and babysit him or her and train them to
Right.
get them up. They've already got those basic skills. That, to me, would be the best way for us to approach the construction need that
Absolutely.
we've got over the next couple of years.
Well, let's get stuff moving on,
I see on April 24th, well, we're signing the checks and vouchers on the 26th, so the meeting of April 24th would be,
the afternoon.
I mean, next week would be too soon to get all that together.
Right.
It might
And you
be-
have interviews next week for the government administrator.
Okay, so the 24th is better then.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be here, I'm leaving I'll be gone the twenty-sixth, so.
The 24th is,
24th's a Monday.
Monday to Monday, it's our last
Oh,
Monday.
We did a work
Okay,
session
yeah,
that Monday
yeah,
afternoon, I
yeah,
guess is
yeah,
what I was
yeah.
leading up to, if
If,
that's,
if they can
On
get,
Monday afternoon, the 24th?
Mhm.
that's what I'm thinking,
like,
Yeah.
1 o'clock,
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think if I could be, I have a rural innovation discussion.
I'm available.
From 1:30 to 2:30, and we could, maybe Lisa could come
Lisa.
over with me.
It
or
doesn't have to be
something.
the
It's not
24th,
till
it
the
was just
25th.
a-
on
just an
Tuesday.
option.
Just,
We're leaving.
it could be the
we're-
following
we're-
Monday for
we're
all I
gonna
care.
go out, Monday,
Well, you're going out Monday afternoon?
yeah.
It's not gonna
Following
work.
Monday
When is it?
would work better,
On May 1st?
May 1st.
Are you doing that?
I'm here that day, but that's the day that they go to Hayes.
Oh, May 1st,
Monday.
okay.
Well, no, the 24th.
The 24th is when we go.
Okay,
I've
well
got
then
May,
do-
I got
do
May
May
21st,
1st.
or,
We can,
May 1st.
I'll be gone,
Oh, you're fine.
I'll be gone, but I mean, I don't have to be here.
You're not
No,
meeting.
it's, well, all we're trying to do is come up with a final plan, so.
Mhm.
That would give us a few weeks to explore some ideas, what those thoughts are, what our planning is for up north, what that facility programming is gonna look like, and then what these needs are,
It may take-
I wish that was 100% in the bag right now.
Right.
We still be doing it.
right?
So, May 8th.
Back to your
It may be-
mobile welding unit, what was the cost on that again?
I think
Approximately.
it's 105,000
Okay.
total, and then we would ask for
Yeah.
the 50/50.
And that was about 4 or 5 months ago, so.
Yeah,
it
that's
may
why I'm
have
like,
Sure.
Increased a
That-
little
that-
bit,
yeah,
but,
yeah.
inflation.
It may take a while to run all the information down, May the 8th, a good day.
And I'll be back then.
It'd be good if all 5 of us is here with the importance of everything.
Yeah, it'd be great.
We have a board meeting at 4 o'clock.
I got May 8th open.
That's fine.
That would be good.
We have a board of trustees meeting at 4 o'clock, we'd have to,
Board would wanna meet in Coffee County, are they ever allowed to do that?
well, I wouldn't know why not.
And the
Well, this is
board
kind of a
should
small
meet.
room, so.
Say, do you have a room that, like, or even downstairs where we
Well,
met
if
for
we're gonna be
the,
in session, we have to do it
Oh,
here.
yeah, that's right.
right, we were thinking, we have a board of
We may-
trustees
we have
meeting
a-
at 4
You can
o'clock.
use the
I wondered
basement.
if we could hold our board of trustees meeting
Maybe
here.
we have them
You
come
can use
here.
the basement.
And maybe some of them would wanna come to be a part of that conversation.
How long's your meetings normally last?
1 hour,
Hour
Should
and a
it be
half,
out by 5,
right.
or give or take?
5:30, yeah, it's not very long,
Is that-
especially
is
in
that-
May, by that time, it's.
Can that
yeah.
be made available? And-
Yes. So we'll do 1 o'clock meeting, or
Sure.
you want to do it later?
No, I
closer to
think
your-
when,
okay.
I mean, as long as we were
1:45.
finished, if we,
We'll just do a work session and we'll end it when we end it.
okay.
Yeah.
We would just have to, if we have the board meeting, if we have it here, it would just have to be finished by 4 o'clock.
We have to obviously, just like you do, we have to publish our board meeting to the media, so we'd have to let them know that we're holding the meeting here so that it's accessible, which is not a problem.
All these days are, I mean, they don't work
Yeah.
for everybody, so whatever works.
But I think that would, even if we had to, you know, so let me ask this, maybe is 12:30 too early to start? Like, right, lunch, after lunch? 12:30, and then if we had to go and we had to leave
we
at
don't-
3 or 3:15?
Long ways to know what our agenda for that day is gonna be, so.
Angie may
Just
be
make it
able,
accordingly.
we can
Angie
keep
may
it
be
light.
able to adjust our agenda just a little bit for
Yeah.
the next,
I
We-
can.
We could be flexible.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Well,
start,
we'll be back Wednesday, so if there's something that needs to come back Wednesday, well, no, that won't be checks and vouchers, is it? That's
Yeah,
the week
it's on the
before.
26th.
Yeah.
we start at 12:30, we finish up by 3, we're back for the board meeting
If we
without
had
much
to, we wouldn't
problem.
have to do something like that.
So I can get a hold of Craig and see if he's available that day too.
Potentially, 12:30 on the 8th.
I'm like,
Sounds good.
Anyone else you need? You're gonna get the,
I'll get in touch, yeah.
Probably Wade, I'll make sure Wade's gonna be around.
okay.
How many trustees do you have?
We have 7, right?
Yep,
Seven.
7.
Keeps us from looking for a golf ball.
Okay.
So some of them could make it down here, you just need to have 4 to have a meeting, don't you?
Yeah.
And then even with that, I don't know if your downstairs would have a Zoom capacity or anything
It does.
electronic. We could, for others that might not be able to make it, we could do the
Zoom
Zoom
them
and they
in.
could just Zoom
Yeah.
in. All right, if there are no further questions, I'll say thank you, Commissioners, for
Thank
taking the
you.
time with us
Yeah,
today, and
we
we
took
look
way
forward
more
to
than
the
a half
additional
hour that you
conversation.
allotted.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
so sorry about that.
Alright,
That's
So,
it.
I think there's some
No, that's okay, I figured it was here, I just wanted to
very
make sure.
valuable information
Thank
come
you.
out that's gonna be looking forward to adding to it, so.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Well, thank you very much, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a few weeks.
Take care.
All right.
See you, Mike.
Good to see you guys.
I'm gonna take a quick break. before
Thank
we-
you all again, we appreciate your
Yeah, thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
let's take a, see if Heidi can come up at, while you're on your break, see if Heidi can come up at, about 11, or 10:45. Take a 10-minute break. Oh.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'll go with it. All right, we're back. Road and Bridge Superintendent Ron Durst.
I think maybe Saban's got an update on.
For Saban.
I'll let him go first.
Yeah, I'll go real quick. And mine was more just an update on some of the other things you got going. Ryan's handling the bulk of things. So I wanted to give you a quick update on the capital improvement working group that we've had going, that you've had us working with. We did complete the draft sidewalk study, that I'll get a copy of that to you all. We gave that to the committee members, which were representing the cities in the county, and asked for their comments. So we're kind of waiting for comments back. If you remember, we had the 5 priorities: the trails, the lakes, or stormwater, sidewalks. They've had all, and then housing. And Bobby had the housing piece already kind of under study. So the sidewalks was kind of our 4th priority, because stormwater and the community lakes kind of ended up merged together in one report. So we've got the draft study out there for review. Again, I'll get that communicated to you all to look at. We told the cities that please get comments back within a month. We have decided to actually hold off on the monthly meetings from here going forward until we get comment and until the group tells us, hey, we'd like to meet to discuss. We can do something by virtual if we need to, because really where we're at with the studies is now if a particular city or you all want us to go after a particular funding program, then we would work that funding program grant application up on someone's behalf. But we didn't feel like there was a need to kind of keep having a monthly meeting if we're kind of now at that point where the studies are complete, and now we're really kind of looking at where we go find dollars to maybe generate the programs further. So
we're basically, they've been using the terminology shovel ready, so to speak.
Yeah, so the new programs with the infrastructure bill have a lot less emphasis on shovel ready. There's actually a lot of money that's available to take, say, a planning study and get it designed. So if you remember, we did submit the RAISE grant on your behalf for the trails. We submitted that for design of improvements, and so that we could tee it up for construction. Because it's, for a county, a rural county like this, that's a pretty big lift to go right into construction and ask for those requests, because what the federal government's going to ask for is, did you design it? And so, but because you're a rural community, we could ask for 100% federal funding, no match dollars, which is what we asked for. And if you're successful, then we can fund design to all the trails, and then begin to put together construction programs for each of them. So I don't know if that answers your question, but there are dollars that can do more than just shovel ready. There's quite a bit of dollars actually that can do more than shovel ready, and there's a lot more programs that are geared toward rural communities. So
it's all federal money.
The trails one we were asking for is all federal money. Again, there's different programs. So KDOT will have some programs, Safe Streets for All, transportation enhancements, bridge programs, dollars that you all have gotten in some of those programs before. So we'll look at those as well.
I've just seen some of those federal programs, they set the wage for the workers, and it's way up there.
Yeah, it's just something, it's something to look at for every program. The programs are uniquely different by the federal department. And so, and then they're uniquely dependent on maybe how much match might be required locally versus 100%.
Okay.
So every program's going to be a little bit different. We'll just look at those as we bring them forward to you to say, hey, we think this might be a good one to go after.
Okay.
That's good news. It sounds like, because instead of getting it designed under our funding, it's gonna be designed.
That was our target goal. We did, I you know, you all gave us direction to go forward. We did get that application in on time. We got great support, got letters of support from both State Senator Moran and Senator Marshall, from Letourneau, our congressman of the area. We got letters of support from some of the cities that were interested, Waverly, Burlington, and so that's all part of putting together a good application. Was really thrilled to work with the local congressional folks, and they were very helpful in that regard. I think if we're not successful this round, my advice would be don't be disappointed. That's not uncommon for a first submittal, but it would be good to submit again, because now we've put all those federal folks on notice that you have a project. It's viable. You've got support from multiple communities in your county, and it will give us a little more time to help work with the congressional folks about getting more support for the projects.
Did you get support from every city in the county?
Well, they verbally did, but
Verbally,
I couldn't get a letter from all of them. I wasn't able to get a letter, which we try to attach a letter into the application.
It's too late to get a letter to support that, probably now, since that application's already went in, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the next time, we need, every city needs to be
Yes,
involved.
yes, that would be the goal, is get all 6 to have a letter in there. Yeah.
So we only got support from 2 cities.
I think we got 3, and I'm trying to remember the third, but I want to say it was 3.
New Strong, Burlington, and Waverly.
I think so. I mean, Gridley verbally said yes, and I never got a letter from them. But again, I have to go back to my notes, but we got 3, I think. So, but and also we got your letter, so which was great. You know, and you were Angie was great help. She helped with us. You know, there's a federal process for submitting grants. You all have those accounts already set up. We have one because we've helped other clients do it. So our person with Angie's direction was able to get it submitted.
I don't need to be looking at it negative, but if we are denied, when's the next time for the application?
It'll come up about a less than a year from now, probably about 8 months from now.
Okay.
And there's multiple programs that we're tracking, even for the sidewalks. There's funding for those programs as well. There's another one that just opened up. And again, these are beneficial to rural because they're putting more money for rural communities. It's called Safe Streets for All, and it is it's a 2-tier program. It has planning dollars and it has construction dollars. You cannot access those construction dollars unless you have a planning study complete. And the planning study, it really is focusing on safety in your community, safety for pedestrians, safety for bicyclists, safety for motorists, how you kind of do a safety plan for your area. And once you have that plan approved, then you can go after construction dollars in that category. I'm familiar with it enough. I'm not prepared to tell you we should go after it. I think I'd like to, but we have till July 10th to get an application in for that. I think I'd like to get comments back on the sidewalk program study first from folks, and then we can kind of see if that's something we want to at least bring forward to you guys. So there's a lot going on, and then you know, as you know, real quickly, I'll just say we're very involved up north at the KSMC project. You probably are getting reports from other people. I'll just say that our drillers are on site doing geotech drilling now, and they'll be there for probably a couple more weeks. I will tell you, I appreciate that you all directed us to move forward with that, because we have hit rock, and so
Hit rock something.
yeah, I know you. I told them exactly where you told us to go first. So, but again, there's a lot of area to cover there with samples, and so they got a game plan to do that. And we've been working with all the different folks interested in the project site, trying to take care of, I'll call it, their engineering needs that are needed for their application submittals. And one of the items that they've had me working on was putting together an RFP for hiring what we would call a program management group that would oversee all of this. We would work with them as an engineering group, but we're not, this program management, as you probably all know, it's a much bigger element. It's really kind of an owner's rep construction management. There's going to be a lot of construction activity going on, a lot of pay estimates, change orders, daily documentation, and getting all that in order prior to even construction starting is pretty important. So I've been working on putting together an RFP that we could go out and assist the group with finding who the best program manager for all parties involved.
Are we only coring the Braley property, or are we doing all of it?
All of it.
All of it. I
Yeah.
figured, well,
All of it. Yeah. Right now, the conceptual site plan that we've done for the industries, it's utilizing, the only part that we're not utilizing right now is the part that is west of the creek, if you know the lay of the land, just because you start getting into phase one going across on that west side, then you're talking about a roadway bridge that has to cross that creek, or some sort of structure, so we can manage costs a little bit by minimizing the impacts on the west side. Frankly, it probably sets itself up for a good piece of property for future growth. So, anyway,
There's enough room over there, you could put another building over there.
What's that?
There's enough room over there, you
Yes.
could put another large building
Yes,
over there.
absolutely.
Between the creek and the road.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and with some of the facilities that was discussed with the technical college earlier, we have those laid out outside of what they call the measurably secure area. So again, that's actually another area too that, if needed, could be utilized for that because of the road access that's already there. So anyway, wanted to go quick, but kind of tell you what we're working on your behalf, and appreciate everything you guys have done. Appreciate it.
thank you, David.
Morning, Ron.
Good morning, everybody. We had one emergency call out Saturday night, pushed a couple trees burn off in the road.
Can't believe that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smoke in there.
Yeah, there was.
Should have landfill totals in your packet. So basically, there's a total of 724 tons. One number that's not on there is the Alta County is about 20% of the total, or 140 tons. That's just information. And that,
Lead you into your motion.
yeah, the first motion we'll have will be for summer help. This is for Adam Moore.
Motion 2023-23, move to authorize director chairman to sign the CP2 for Adam Moore, summer help, light equipment operator, subject to regular IP, wage classification 30-01, wage of $18.36, effective 4/10, number of hours work not to exceed 1,000. I'll move.
I'll second that.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Next motion, Jesse jinxed me last week, so this is the table organization and oversight. I forgot to move the landfill from the road supervisor and put it reflective under my position. So that's just a motion to correct that.
Motion 2023-36, move to authorize director chairman to sign table of highway department revised table of organization dated 4/10.
I'll move.
Moved by McCurry,
I'll second.
seconded by Meeks. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Next, we have 2 bridges down there on Homestead. So we had bid openings here a while back. So you should have a sheet in there, the bid tabulations and The recommendations we have from BG Consultants, who's did all the design work. And so Reese Construction come in actually below the engineer's estimated bid. And they were low bid, they're pretty close really.
Yeah, they were.
But, I think, you know, BG's recommended Reese, you know, no reason not to go with them. They've worked with them in the past.
Motion 2023-24, move to approve bids for replacement of county bridges 127, 128 on Homestead Road from 2.5 to 3.25. 3.25 road, submitted by Reese Construction Company in the amount of $1,297,676.87 from the bid dated March 29, 2023. This will be paid for from Special Bridge Fund.
So moved. I'd second that.
Moved by Hughie and seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
So we'll add on that. Sounds like they're gonna be getting started pretty quick, like the 1st of May.
Right.
Yeah, so I met, with the guy from Reese Construction last week, so we're getting some utility lines moved, prior to them getting here, but they're gonna move in a couple crews and 2 cranes and be working on both bridges at the same time, so.
Target date, 6 months for completion.
150 working days, so roughly September 16th.
Yeah.
I would say being they're gonna have 2 crews here, that they ought to probably be sooner, I would think, but.
No, Mother Nature.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Next motion, so this would be a consultant and client agreement. Basically, this is for the inspection side, to go along with those bridges. And this would be with BG Consultants. And, got a contract that Saban is reviewing, and look at that. But basically, the contract states it's not to exceed $159,350 for the inspection side of it.
159,000.
Yeah.
Motion 12 or 13%.
That's-
Consulting, they're normally that high percentage.
Yeah, that's about, I mean,
know
from
they
what
bounce-
I've looked
they bounce
into
around
it.
quite a bit.
Yeah, what I've looked into it, I mean, it's usually at least 10%, or at least 10% on that,
This year would be 12 or so.
yeah.
Motion 2022-37, move to approve consultant-client agreement with BG Consultants, Inc. for construction engineering services for bridge replacement on county bridges 127, 128 on Homestead Road from 2.5 to 3.25 road as per agreement, and direct with road and bridge superintendent to sign all related contract documents.
Wait, throw a kink in it, is it something Wade needs to take a gander at?
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, this is just giving me the authorization to sign for it, but that's, you know, I figured at least Saban reviewing that, and I can have Wade review it also.
I mean, Sabian finalized on it yet, or? You said he's reviewing it.
He's gotta review it, yeah, yes. Saban's reviewing it, this is just authorizing me to be able to sign it after it's reviewed,
Okay.
so I mean, we can wait on that if we'd like, but no, I can have Wade review it also, but I don't need to sign the documents I won't sign them until they're reviewed.
Okay. And I'm fine passing it, I mean, I just want everybody.
Yeah, good, Tom.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Did we have a motion?
Move.
Also,
Motion 20,
also move. I don't think we had a move in.
well, further discussion and
Yeah.
then you vote.
I started further
Oh, you
discussion
did.
prior
You
than,
did.
prior to anybody making a
Okay,
motion.
you're right.
So we're good.
Okay.
Nobody's actually made a motion.
I so move.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by Mates.
We'll get there.
Any further discussion?
Do you want to add in county councilor as to form in there, or just
Yeah,
saying that he's gonna?
might as well add county councilor in there as well. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Before I get distracted again.
All right, I started the further discussion before.
All right, thanks. I'll get that to Wade, let him review it and get Saban to
I just
review
want to make
it.
sure everybody's
Yeah.
warm and fuzzy.
Nope, perfect. Next would be our mowing bids for the 4 locations we put out for bid. Pankowski Company, who we'd like to award it to.
Motion 2023-19, move to find the bid submitted by Pankowski Company LLC mowing for Hope Cemetery, half-mile south of 22nd and Emmer, in the amount of $33 per event. New Strawn Monument, 16th Road in Fauna, in the amount of $26 per event. Park at Old 50 Highway, in the amount of $47 per event. Rock Creek Cemetery, in the amount of $42 per event, with a combined cost of $148 per event, to be approved as best bid for seasonal mowing, with all bids awarded accordingly to the terms of the bid. Funds to be paid from Road and Bridge Fund. I will move.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion?
FYI, that should be Strong Monument, not New Strong Monument.
Okay, Strong Monument
That's the old stuff.
with correction.
So we would have an insurance certificate from this company on the
Yes.
All right.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Can you back up to the previous motion? Who moved on that and seconded? I basically had it, I think.
Thompson and Moots, I think.
Okay,
Is that right?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
thank you.
All right, thank you. I think that's the last motion. I've got a few discussion points here. One would be on some rock. So Kevin Parks is building a place out by Atomwa. He's building a pond, and they run into some major rock out there. We've got some use for that rock, so I've had some discussion with him about possibly figuring out how to purchase some of that. And basically, it's large. I mean, it's large rock. Some of it's up 2-3 foot thick. You know, we'd really like to maybe use some of that, some of the riverbank stabilization stuff that we're working towards doing, among other projects. You know, I've estimated there's probably around 1,100 tons there, roughly. Figuring there's 90 loads that come out of that hole. Basically, it's, you know, size like what shot rock would be from a quarry. Shot rock we would pay $9 a ton for. I think on this we could get it for $4.50, half that. We load it ourselves, estimating around $5,000 worth of rock. I mean, we definitely got need for it. I think probably what we would do is start hauling it out, and we would weigh a few trucks, and then just keep track of the loads, how many loads there winds up being, and to come up with how many tons of rock we have.
It's sitting on her easement right now.
Some of it is, some of it is.
Does he have more back?
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
there's
back?
90 loads, yeah, there's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's,
Maybe you should have put a quarry there
yeah.
instead of a house.
I think I don't know, they did a couple test holes, I think, for his pond, and they must have been off a few feet from what they found, and, but yeah, so anyway, but no, there's a lot of good rock there that we can get some use out of, so.
I'd say get it while we get in the.
Okay, yeah, we'll just move forward with some of that
Well,
then.
we've got to have a motion for
No.
that. Okay.
No, not for the dollars that we're talking there, I don't believe we should. Next, would just be a service agreement that goes along with this new excavator. Basically, this is a 5-year agreement, $2,700 a year. It's, I mean, standard from stuff we've had in the past. I don't know, I mean, it's just information more than anything, that letting you guys know, so it'll be a total of, $13,500 over a 5-year time period. And so this is dealing with all service of our new hoe.
Did I miss that motion?
No, there's not a motion, it's just
It's
information.
just talking point.
Yeah, just a talking point.
Probably had that discussion before. Does it kick in from the day when you buy it or after
Yeah.
the warranty?
No, day one.
So it does kick in from day one?
Yeah, on this, so I mean, this covers, yeah.
It just covers everything versus what the original warranty?
Well, and this beyond the warranty here. This is the service agreement, so basically this is all oils and filters, and anything pertaining to that is typically what we do with the new equipment agreements. Sometimes they're 3, sometimes they're 5 years, but
And this is a 5-year plan.
this is a 5-year.
They don't do the service work though.
They do.
They do come do it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, they do it on site, and they don't, the prices they figure is shop rates and not a travel rate,
I see.
as part of these agreements.
Okay.
Then, prices on everything for the, fluids and filters, that's locked in, so those prices will never increase. So this price is, this is what it is, $2,700 a year for 5 years. It won't be changing.
Okay.
Last thing is next week is Work Zone Awareness Week. So typically we got a banner and some cones we usually set up across from Dairy Queen up there on Stukey's property. In the past, we've set it down there by Modi's or the corner to the shop. I'd like to maybe move it down to the lot where the old gas station was and set our banner up there this year, if you guys are okay with that, across from the coffee shop.
I am.
So, just think it'll get seen a little more there.
Is it a double-sided banner?
No,
Just one-sided?
one-sided. It's one-sided banner. I believe that's all I had for today.
Did well.
Alright.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, you got a good day.
Right.
Thank you. Heidi, come on up. We're finally ready.
Morning.
Come on in.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. How can I help you guys today?
Sorry we're late. There was a piece of paper that was sent to us on flood from the Kansas, and I think Angie was gonna visit with Bob
I did.
about it, 'cause he had been here for 17 years,
And Steve,
And then and then Heidi reached out, and I just
Okay.
requested that she come in and explain a little further
okay,
on the flooding.
there we are.
That's what it was about.
So, if I understood the letter correctly, it's asking if you guys want to be part of the flood insurance program, right? Correct?
Yes.
So, just gotta backtrack just a smidgen. In our regulations, when it talks about if you're near or adjacent to a body of water or in a floodplain, that you have to get with the Division of Water Resources, Department of Agriculture, to make sure it doesn't affect where you're building at. So that is one condition already in our regs. So, what I had brought up to Steve was that the prior commission back in 14 or 15-ish timeframe had brought in state of Kansas representatives to talk about this flood insurance program. I believe it was Steve Samuelson at the time, and he's currently retired. So the person we would be talking to now, if you guys want to move forward, would be Tara Lanz-Lazarus. And what the program would allow would be to allow the citizens of Coffee County to have discounted flood insurance if you chose to be in it. There are ups and downs to the program that would have to be researched further. I don't have all that. The biggest concern at the time with the commission was if someone were to build a structure and it's over 100 years old and it would be burned down, that if we had floodplain regulations, they'd have to build it above the floodplain area, floodable area. So that was the concern at the time. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that was the discussion back then, so you'd be aware of what the prior commission had talked about.
Which possibly would make it unfeasible to even rebuild there.
Right.
At that point in time. And
There-
everybody else is grandfathered in, would be my guess.
There could be other options on that to be able to allow that structure to go back there. That would have to be researched further if you guys wanted to need to research that. 'Cause there could be options to allow that to go back, but they'll have to do certain things to accomplish those goals.
and if I could just piggyback on what Heidi's talking about, when I spoke with Bob, he said that they would not be able to build back in the same location on the same land, and there's a lot of regulations and things they would have to jump through, a lot of hoops, and it would be, it would prohibit citizens in a lot of ways, and it would be almost hurtful to them to do that. They wouldn't be able to maybe get some loans, and there was a lot of specifications on what could and could not happen. He said an example also was if you had 40 acres of land and your house was maybe not in the floodplain, but 2 acres on that same deed was, and something happened to the homestead, you wouldn't be able to build back because of that 2 acres being in that floodplain. So they decided at the time that it was not something that they wanted to do, and even there were some bank representatives here also at the time, and I'm not sure they were in favor of it either, so they had concerns as
That
well.
flood insurance is awfully expensive to,
Mhm.
It is.
to get tied into a loan or not even a loan. That insurance is awfully expensive.
If you're not part of the program. It is about, I was researching and it says that,
We got 3 or 4 houses in the floodplain there in Leroy.
Well,
I was involved in 1 or 2 of them. I was at the bank, and it almost cost prohibitive.
because of not being in the program, but they do get a discounted rate if you're in. I don't know what that rate is. That'd be something that the banks and them would have to discuss and whatnot. And
So the pros to being part of it is
There's
everybody gets a discount, but the con would be.
Well, but there's-
It comes with a lot of restrictions, it sounds like.
Well, you're also going to have to put floodplain regulations in place that also have to play with the FEMA regulations, so.
If you're involved with this program.
Correct.
Okay.
You'd also have to put those in as well. It's not just, I want to do it, you have to put regulations in place. FEMA has to agree to them, and then they have rules also that would apply as well. So I just wanted to let you guys know about what they had said prior, so it would be part of the record.
So, what I hear is continue doing what we've done before, previously,
Yeah,
file 13 it.
yeah.
That would be my thought.
Well, when Heidi called, I mean, she has some expertise, I mean, and she's been involved, and that's, I had some questions myself, and then she's answered those. And then, Angie talked with Bob, and that kinda caught things up, so that's what it was.
Thank you very much for
You're welcome.
your information.
You guys have a good day.
You
Thank
do
you.
Thank you.
Recycle bin it is.
I made notes of that and put it in the computer too, so if we ever have a question.
That way we could look
that-
it up again. There you go. Good job.
Under floodplain.
Flood info.
Yeah.
Well, we're done with our agenda for the day. We've got some stuff to sign.
I have a question.
Do you have some we can start roundtable?
Yes, well, I called Katie, she's gonna come up, she wanted to discuss a couple applicants with you real quick.
Okay.
So that was one thing, and then, this resolution you just passed earlier, I guess there's a change on a CP 5. Do you wanna rescind this, or do you want them to do a CP 2? Because we'll have to do a new resolution if you want it on this. I didn't know there would be a change today
So I would say let's do a CP 2.
on the appraiser's office.
No, there was no
Didn't do it.
change.
There was no
today.
change.
No change on
Nothing
that.
done
today.
today.
Oh, okay,
Nope.
okay, I
Nope.
misunderstood, because she brought down a revised one, I said you guys wanted it on this.
No, there was
No.
nothing passed, nothing changed.
Okay, okay,
No
so,
action taken.
no, nothing, okay, so just sign this then. And then, this came down after sometime this morning. Let's see. And then, I guess one other thing we can talk about, so, the iPads we've been testing for the past few months are just pretty well, just about done being able to be used for anything. The app we were using, which was free, it's updated itself, so now we can't even get it on the iPad. So my question is, I can get some different tablets that won't be iPads, but they'll work the same way as far as touch screen and all that you can see live time using that app if you would like. I didn't know if all of you were happy with using those. I mean, I've kind of enjoyed it because when we're doing motions, you guys are there to see everything. I guess I wanted to get your feedback on what you think.
How much longer do you expect these to work?
Well, they're gonna work like they are right now, for minimal use. I mean, pretty much all apps are updating and they're pretty well just about done. We had to use a different application today, that's why you're not seeing it live time, you have to hit refresh.
Okay.
So it's gonna get a little bit
That's
more
what the problem is not
difficult.
missing.
Yes,
Okay.
and it just happened over the weekend, so,
And the only thing she can put on here is the motions.
yeah, and you have to hit that circle up at the top with the arrow
The
to refresh
refresh.
it to see what I've done.
As far as the other paperwork, she can't roll it over because it's under Google Docs or Docs Google,
Yeah,
and the other stuff's under her.
and so I was going to offer,
I'm gonna say what the cost is of,
well, there's some options. If I were to get about the same size you have here, or maybe an inch bigger, they're like $139, but if you'd like a little bit bigger yet, it's like $300. I have my clerk technology fund, which can be used for technology. It's not budgeted money, it's actually fees collected through the Register of Deeds office, by statutory guidelines that the legislators set up. So I would be willing to use some of that money to buy tablets for you guys and not have it be out of taxpayer money if you would like to continue. So I was just gonna offer that up, being that it is, we're doing it in my office and all that, I'm fine with paying for it out of that fund.
$139 times 7, you're not talking about $1,000.
Yeah,
And I should say not but, because it's still 1,000.
right.
But an inch bigger than this,
Yeah.
I really like using it.
I do. I like having you guys use it, really.
Being able to follow along, yeah.
I do too. I like being able to see what's going on.
Yeah,
I've watched
like
some
you
of
said.
the Lyon County stuff, not that we gotta do what they do, but they've got the same deal, they got a touch ice cream, whatever pad it is.
Uh-huh.
I really like that as well. It's been nice.
Yeah.
If somebody's drawing up a motion or something, I can see it.
And that's why I like it too, because you guys, any of you, Wade included, can
Yeah,
tell.
we can read it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just information on anything.
So it would be a tablet instead of an iPad, which is cheaper. So would you want, then there's the $300 one's like 14 inch. So it'd be, a few inches bigger yet, so,
14 inch in height or width.
in
It's
height
height.
or width, we can turn it however, yeah. We can do it sideways or stand it up. So,
I might make it easier to read, I don't know if we need that.
Yeah, I have no trouble reading this.
I don't have any problem.
If it's an
with
inch
this.
bigger, it's gonna be
An
enough.
inch bigger is going to be much better. I'm good with
Okay.
that one myself. It's whatever.
what do you think, Tom?
I'm gonna go along with whatever, I don't mind them at all. No, it's nice when you type up a new motion that you can read right there in real time, that is handy.
Well, everything is already on it that's in the agenda, that as new things come up, you type it in immediately, we can sit right there and read it. And to me, there's value to that.
Yes. Okay, so I will get some on order. I don't know how long it'll take them to get here, but we'll get them as quickly as we can, and
Will your battery packs be able to use?
I'll check on that.
I would see if
Everything
you
will
could
probably
get
be
some.
obsolete,
Obsolete.
just because, that's the way the world
That's the way the world
Well,
works.
and maybe we won't need them if you have fresh battery too.
Well,
you know,
true that.
You know,
Yeah.
part of the reason we need these might be because some of these
These are
batteries
out,
are
yeah,
aged.
they're,
I don't know.
that is why, you're correct, that is why.
Dinosaurs.
Don't ask me too many questions about a computer, because
Yeah.
I'm not up on computers.
Okay,
How you doing this morning, Wade?
I don't think I have anything else. We're just waiting on Katie right now.
Would you have any time later we could work on that? Or are you busy today or?
I've a little bit of time, depends on.
Could we just go over that contract and try to get that? If you needed anything more from me, I don't know, maybe you did, I don't know.
Need to run it through with you since you have a better understanding of what
Yeah.
some of that terminology.
All you got was my chicken scratching, so.
Right.
That sounds
Help
that
me
sounds
decode
legible.
it. Yeah.
If it's my chicken, correct.
It was pretty rough, And then I thought, well, I just snapped a picture of it with my phone and sent it to him, like, good luck reading this.
That's small enough, you can't see it.
Well, maybe I was hoping he blew it out, but he needed to do it, so.
Disposal under, for the box truck, I'm guessing.
I just didn't want to be the holdup on it, that's all.
Well, he didn't call to have you interpret it. Apparently he could read it, right?
Well, I don't know if he could or not. He said he got notes, he didn't say he could read them.
Oh, okay.
When I was in school many years ago, I used to print, it looked like a typewriter.
Yeah.
By the time I got through college, I couldn't read. I got a grandson that looks like a typewriter.
Oh, really?
He's 27 years old.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But it's small enough that it's hard for me to read.
And then,
He just needs to do it in larger print.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks just
Oh,
like a typewriter.
right.
Yeah.
wanted to count on that one day.
Bring that back up.
And I don't have anything else.
Katie, you got something for us today?
I heard I was asked to come up to talk about applicants.
Come on up.
Okay. What do you want me to say? What do you want to know?
What do you
Good
got?
news, good news,
Good
that's what we want.
We want good news? Okay. We have one interested in interviewing. We had 4 total. 2 were not local at all. They were far, far out of state, and I went ahead and contacted the one that would have been qualified for the position, and she has not contacted me back. Be from Albany, New York, actually, and she was very highly qualified for public health, but like I said, she hasn't called me back. So we do have one interview scheduled for the 17th at 2 p.m. for hopefully some or all of you to be present.
What day is that?
That's Tuesday.
17th.
Oh, Monday? Okay, sorry, yep, okay. So I had been in contact with Angie directly for that, and that was what she mentioned would work for you guys.
So if the other gal from Albany, New York, or the other person from Albany, New York could do a Zoom
Yep,
if she calls,
presumably we could maybe set it up for that day.
no play
That's what I
on
would
words,
try.
right?
What's that?
No play on words, right?
Yeah.
Presumably?
Yeah, right, yeah, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
We mentioned
No.
last week we'd look at it at 1 o'clock. I don't know where you're at now.
That's what I wrote.
Mhm. Yeah, and I did call this person, and she said the best she could do was 2. So my apologies.
okay.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. And then as for because this individual actually, she is a registered nurse. She's interested in either the RN position or the administrative position. My assumption is that she would be actually great for the administrator position. So that would still leave our RN position open. And that one closed on the 7th, and we got no applicants, no, so.
Wasn't it, open until filled?
Yes, yeah, but we just were taking applications until, the 7th, so we'll just,
We had a target.
we'll leave her
date of the
open.
7th.
Yeah.
Target date of the 7th.
Yep. So that would have been nice, of course, to get some in, and we did advertise in all areas that I feel like would be appropriate. We did, locally, of course, we used the internet, we used the newspaper, I used CALD, which is the Kansas Health Department, Association, like it's a thread that we get emails on every day for anything you need to know. And then we used Kansas Association of Counties for the admin position. We kind of put it Indeed. Indeed didn't bring us anything, really, not.
Probably expensive and it didn't bring it.
No, it's free.
It's free.
I don't pay for the
Yep.
papers.
So the only downfall I feel about Indeed is and maybe it's the free version, I'm not aware
It
at
could
all.
be.
It put a projected or like an estimated salary there on its own, and I clicked like, hey, that's not right. I forget what the button is that was there, but it projected like $40,000 to $50,000, and that's not the case. So that alone could have, turned people off of the administrative position. So
That's how I hired Casey in my office. She found out.
on Indeed, yep. So I think it could be useful. That's where we got our out-of-state applications from, was Indeed. So
Do we need to go ahead and interview this one, wait, or open it up, or wait till we're interviewing them? If not, open it back up.
I think you need to go ahead and interview.
Okay.
Everybody's had a full
Everybody's
opportunity
had
to
one,
apply.
yeah.
And then we'll just keep taking applications in and advertising for the RN position, I suppose.
I would.
We're gonna need it, so. Okay, anything else from me?
Not unless you got more stuff.
Nope, not right now.
You're getting better at public speaking.
No, I'm not.
You love it.
No, I'm not. No. No, this is still not easy.
You feel like you're comfortable doing it, so.
Only
Or you
if-
look comfortable.
Yeah,
doing it.
well, thank you, I appreciate that. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
You too.
And y'all.
This piece of paper that Angie handed out was from, Tim, the American Standards. It's something he thought would be interesting to us. Looks like, so, yep,
Yeah.
just
Gonna take it for
reading
Reading material.
information. More Biden administration stuff, about the 30 by 30. Angie slipped me a note saying that Craig can be here on the 8th for our work session with Flint Hills.
And that's May the 8th.
May the
Correct.
8th,
May.
that's right, yeah.
We got that set at 12:30, no?
Yep.
Okay.
I sent you an email too, Ray. If you're available that day, May 8th at 12:30.
Work
What
session.
day of week?
Monday.
Oh, yeah, Mondays are,
Just do get some sandwiches or stuff for everybody to eat on that
We can do
day,
that.
or
We can do
we'll
that.
meet downstairs, chances are.
No, we'll meet up here.
Right, meet
It has to be televised.
Okay. All right.
The work session will be here, and then if
Yeah.
they need to leave to go to their board meeting, then they can go downstairs
Okay.
to the board meeting, if they're gonna have it here, so.
See if that day brings.
Yep. Angie is out of the work, she's already said all of her.
Everything there above the red
So,
business.
started on the,
Round table, yeah.
but I wanted to make sure that resolution
Well,
was
this
the
is
right
Jesse's already
thing.
said
This just goes in here, okay.
I'm gonna grab these.
Sure.
Wade didn't bring his booklets in with him, but I'm gonna hit him with round table and see if he's got anything.
no, just, I believe the parking lot bids are due the end of this week, open next week, so hopefully that will get moving sooner rather than later. We've been talking about all these things for, it seems like years now, and
Starting to come to an end.
now it's coming to a head, not only with the parking lot, but with the, hopefully with the jail, not far behind from that. June 5th, I believe, is a Monday, and you just need to be aware, if you want to see how busy things will be during the trial, there's a trial set that starts on June 5th.
You know, the completion of the parking lot's June 26th, so there'll be some congestion.
Well, there'll be a lot of congestion because there'll be, I don't know how many potential jurors, but there will be quite a few. So this area will be oversaturated at that point.
At 9 o'clock start, Wade?
I'm sure it'll.
Or you can let us
people
know,
will
got a lot of time, let us know.
But I don't know if that's, I mean, that may be a lot of time in your world, not a lot of time in.
In yours?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's,
I don't know.
if June 5th is a Monday.
It is a Monday.
Yep, so just beware, just a heads up, so. And like you said, the parking lot won't be done, but it'll give a good example of how how things will be stressed around the courthouse for parking.
Yeah, and the call for completion of June 20 states, that's not allowing for any weather.
Yep.
Your court date's June the 5th or 6th?
The fifth, that entire week.
Fifth?
And that's all week long.
It's a week-long trial. Then there's another one that starts, June 20th and goes to June, I think, 27th.
That's on Tuesday.
Yep, well, yeah. So, those two times, this area will be stressed out,
Really stressed.
but it's a good thing. Trials are expensive, but they're a necessity and they're a good thing that anybody who receives a jury summons doesn't look at it as a negative.
Okay.
It's actually one of the most important things that a citizen can do. And it's a civic duty. So, yeah, that's all I'll say about that. I don't know if Angie mentioned it, we received last week a revision to, the most recent revision to the policy manual, that we now need to have one final meeting with Christina to see what her comments are and updates to that manual, and then I think it should be ready to present to the board, but isn't that what?
That's true. There is one other thing that I did bring up to Christina that she had mentioned early on when, in the process about, and it was dealing with sick and vacation or having just personal time off or something like that. Because there's been issues where some people feel like someone might call in sick and they're really not. And I don't know how that would work with the change you guys did with the 960, but we're going to just have a little short meeting tomorrow just to kind of run through that again and see what that would maybe look like, but otherwise I think it's about ready to be done. So, I don't know what you guys feel about that.
Decisions that you'll have to make regarding a cap on, I'm drawing a blank. There's a
Personal time or?
how much time you can hold over for either comp time or overtime.
Yeah.
There's
how long?
Yeah, there's a max that the law allows, but you don't have to go up to that max. And I think it was it 960, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then you have to use it within a certain period of time. So you have flexibility as the employer to set that cap and when it has to be used by. So,
Well, if you don't set a cap and you don't set a use by time, it's gonna turn into a savings account for them, just like the sick pay and everything else is.
Early retirement.
Or the other, early retirement plan.
Didn't we discuss like 6 months that the comp time had to be used within?
We
Well,
did a
had
few weeks
discussed
ago,
it.
yes.
Yeah, we had discussed it.
Right.
We never made it.
Oh, we just discussed it, didn't we?
yeah, so in the new revision in the policy manual, there's a section, and the section has the language that's necessary with the blank. So when we get to the point where we bring it up and we put it on the screen, you just insert whatever you collectively agree with and go with that.
I had a question. Was we gonna get a final number on the jail since the basement was taken out? I know there was rough numbers thrown, but was we waiting for a final,
The old sheriff's department,
Yeah.
most of the, anything over 200, mostly all
I think,
motels.
and don't correct me, I may be wrong on this, once Tom went up and met with, Sheriff Tom went up and met with all the
suppliers.
suppliers and people who are involved, with his changes and modifications, they were coming up with a
Everything there goes here, everything
figure
above that yellow.
based on those estimates. So if you remember, the basement got flipped and then got moved upstairs. So I anticipate in the bid documents that those numbers will be reflected. But as you mentioned, and I think it was you, not a dollar over $30 million. In fact,
Right.
it should be
26.
Yeah,
26.
that's the thing, we did change a bunch of things to make it lesser. That doesn't mean we wanna come in right underneath the cap
Right,
again
exactly,
now, you
exactly.
know? I don't know how we prevent that.
I think Larry was supposed to get back with us with another design figure.
And I don't know if y'all have seen this, the bonds, interests are dropping like a rock. So I don't know if we might get a hold of, was that Raymond James?
Greg Bamberg.
Greg Bamberg.
So I'd mentioned to him the last time we had an update like you're talking about, and I talked to him and asked if that was a good time for the county to potentially look at the second $10 million, and he said not necessarily. So this may be a good opportunity to ask him again if it's a good time. Because, you know, it's like shooting that arrow and it goes up and down.
Where it lands, you don't know.
Right.
Just don't be standing underneath it. I mean, that was my thing, I just noticed the letter the dealer sent out, the bonds were dropping considerably the way I read it, so. Of course, I'm sure the investments as well as those bonds is dropping
Yeah.
as well, I would assume, unless the bonds are dropping and the investments are still going up.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching what happened out west with the bank that went belly under. And
Silicon Bank.
Yeah.
A lot of that was from bonding the wind farms. They lost their can on that.
And haven't seen FDIC really backing off yet on interest rates. I'm not sure quite understand the connection between the two.
You know, the original dates that they provided us here 6 months ago, bidding is supposed to be initiated April 23rd. That's only 2 weeks away. This construction starting May 23rd. So Larry, somebody needs to be in touch with us. Because right now, we don't have enough information or document numbers.
That hadn't been updated in a while. I know with the parking lot thrown in the mix of this, that start date for the jail has changed.
We don't
I
have
don't know about
anything.
the actual bidding,
But the start date's changed.
I know that the start date has to change in order to get the parking down. It just has to.
This here has nothing, so far, this is all I have to do with jail structure.
Yeah.
So 10 o'clock next week, and River City is here, so it might be the
Good time
perfect
to have it.
They're here
opportunity
next
and I think, Joe Seymour should be here, so he's here. The same question you just asked, Don, you could ask him.
Yeah.
The
I keep talking to them every 2 or 3 weeks when they're in, but I'm not too sure they haven't lost a little bit of sight of this date they presented us.
I would say that's thrown clear out the windows.
I'm sorry?
I'd say that's thrown clear out the window.
With the parking
With
lot.
the parking lot.
The 17th is when we open the bids for the parking lot, is that correct?
Yes.
There was an addendum came out last week on that, just FYI, addressed. It's got most of it secondhand, but there's several questions at the pre-bid meeting. A few things, and those all got addressed in the addendum, so, from what I read. Looks like everything's covered.
So I need to find where that addendum is, because I've not seen it. Which I need to make sure it ends up on the county website.
Yeah, I don't. It came to me via email. I don't know, I did not think to check the county website, if it appeared on there, one would assume. If it's tied into their, bid, link to the bids.
Yeah, they're, initially when those documents got put on the website, their links were broken, so The only thing that got put on the website was the actual documents themselves.
I see. It came out Thursday or Friday, I don't remember.
I don't really have anything else for today. Unless you have something for me.
I might.
Steve?
No, sir, I'm good.
Don?
Just a real quick update on what I've seen at the triplex there in Leroy. Of course, everything's done on the outside. There's 4 to 5 men there every day working on the inside. They're getting ready for, they're putting everything down so they can lay the concrete down on the outside. They're putting a lot of trim down. All three sites, or all three dock rentals has been repainted once. They haven't been repainted, hadn't been painted for the second time. They do have the cabinets in. I think all the cabinets are mounted except maybe what's in the bathroom. And, you know, target date to get finished, I don't know. They're in visiting with what appears to be the supervisor down there. Probably still, last time I talked to him on that a week ago, probably 6-8 weeks away at least, maybe a little bit more than that. So it is starting to come together. That's all I have, Jesse.
Wade?
I don't have anything today.
Speak now, forever hold your peace. Thomas?
I wouldn't mind an executive session for non-elected personnel. 20 minutes, Wade and the board. I don't know if you and I need to talk briefly.
We can set a 5-minute, extra.
So we need to add one more layer to non-elected personnel and then
Job performance.
and to discuss job and performance in an open meeting would, you know, it would, it's a personnel matter that does not need to be discussed in an open session regarding job performance. I was trying to make sure we covered the
Sure.
the 3 layers.
That's why I don't know if you and I need to talk. I mean, I don't wanna jeopardize anything, so.
Yeah, let's, just so I understand.
Before you make the motion, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, before he allows it.
Yeah, yeah.
Shoot him down.
Oh, sure. Sorry, Tom.
You're right. I'm trying to read Wade.
Excuse me. Late night. Watch TV too much.
Much better, but I was like,
Damn dog.
and then Jason started dropping the went till 4, 3 to 4. I was like, oh.
Might as well just get up and go to work, right?
I thought about getting up at 3, and I thought, oh, I'm so tired from stamping.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like,
Well, you had enough time to give him good breakfast, get a good breakfast made for
Yeah.
school, right?
no, there's no school.
No school today?
No, Easter today, and they.
Oh, so they
because I
took
think
away.
today would have been a snow day, but they didn't use it, so they added it on to Easter, which was nice.
Yeah, it was nice to give everybody a
Little long.
little weekend.
I didn't have a note on, I meant to ask for, at Ryan about 31 Highway north of Waverly and 58 and the bridge east of Leroy. I'll make sure I ask him next week if he's followed up with it.
KDOT.
So, non-elected personnel, potential disciplinary issue involving non-elected personnel, I guess is the best way to put it.
Still 20 minutes.
Seems like a good round number.
Okay.
15 never works.
Almost.
Well, I had it set for 15, 'cause I think that's what you said, wasn't it?
That's why it don't work, you keep beating it.
I'm gonna beat it a little bit.
When the hammer comes out, watch out.
Yep.
And in mine, I'd have done use that mallet.
Be like Angie ordering the clock, huh?
All right, what Wade said on the executive session for 20 minutes, the council and the board, or Wade and the board, I'll move.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, second by McCreary. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We will enter at 11:31 for 20 minutes.
Is this sitting here because I missed this one?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we're back, no action taken.
Thank you. That was all I had,
Good.
but I know I informed where we are on the partner,
Yeah.
so.
I don't think I have anything.
Meeting on your to-do list for May 8th, so y'all keep
Oh,
it back
okay.
behind.
Was you here when we made that for May 8th with, Clint Hills? Do a work session, what, at 12:30, I think, was May 8th. They come in, was seeking some, assistance on a mobile welder. They got a grant from the state, I believe, of $500,000, but it's a matching thing, so they're doing their campaigning, if you will. Talk about a mobile welding unit, and then, of course, we touched base on a lot of things, and we asked them what it would look like if they had the Walmart building, because it's still available.
Once again, I brought up the Burlington High School used to have a heck of a welding facility. If it's not what it used to be, instead of reinventing the wheel with something new, maybe you could go in there to do it and use, if they could get the Walmart building purchased, use that for like nursing or whatever it may be later on.
The cost of this welder is like $105,000, for half of that possibly, am I correct?
Yeah. I mean,
Way I
basically what it boils down to, it's a new truck and a welder. That's basically what it is. New pickup and a welder.
Is this part of anticipated chips or something completely separate?
Separate. Their philosophy is that's 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road before they actually have a facility up there. They would like to see feet on the ground here sooner than that. Doing something productive and positive.
They want to expand and create a campus here.
Well,
At least some offerings of some sort of classes, the way I understood it.
This welding deal, this basically a welding truck, this would be done outside, the way I took it, not in a building. So this would just, like a training for on the job, actual on-site type welding.
I bet when we meet with them next time, we're gonna have a lot more information,
I bet
but do some thinking about it.
They were very informative, I felt.
I'll be
That
speaking
lady's
with
very
him.
knowledgeable.
But you might go ahead and invite him, however you're gonna do it.
Well, I was-
I'll be speaking with him.
Okay, just let me
about-
know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you don't invite him, I'm just saying,
I was just thinking he might be in the children housing.
well, he's been my, go-between for all the other information, so.
Yeah,
you do.
I can send an email that I sent to Wade and.
Well, if nobody has anything else, we'll adjourn at 11:57. Everybody's good? Meeting adjourned, 11:57. Everybody have a good day. Good week.
Yeah.